Hi, welcome to Mind and Body Mentor. I am Sifu David, and people ask me, Sifu David, how do you deal with stress? How do you relieve stress and anxiety? And this video, we're going to talk about how to do those things. There's two aspects to everything. There's the mind and the body. That's why this series is called the Mind and Body Mentor, because they're all connected. These two things are always connected. If you change the mind, you will change your body. If you change your body, you will also affect the mind. So let's talk about those two aspects of how to relieve stress and anxiety and what to do with your mind and body. So let's talk about the mental aspects of how to deal with stress and anxiety. As I told you before, that the mind and the body are interconnected and they cannot be separated, because if you are able to alter your body, state of your body, you'll be able to alter the state of your mind and vice versa. So it's very important that you are able to learn skills, and these are actually skills for you to be able to alter both, because now you can get out of anxiety and depression or stress twice as fast because you're going in both directions. Okay, so let's talk about the mental aspect of it. Let's talk about three mental aspects of relieving stress. Number one, it is your internal dialogue. Number two is your being able to stay present. And number three is external influences and your environment. Let's talk about your internal dialogue. What is your internal dialogue? It is your self-talk. Your self-talk can be negative or it can be positive and can be neutral. So when you're stressed out or when you're anxious, most likely you're going to experience negative self-talk. You're going to hear yourself saying things like, how come that could happen? Or why am I such a failure? Or why am I so stupid? Or why did that happen? Or so all this negative stuff that happens in your mind, but you have to be able to be aware of it and then label it as negative self-talk. Being aware is the first thing, and being aware that that voice may not necessarily be yourself. It may be just be a part of yourself saying that all those negative things. And the danger of negative self-talk is that if you keep repeating it and you let it go out of control, it may lead to some severe problems of stress, anxiety, and depression. So you need to be able to catch it and say, hey, stop saying those negative things in your mind. And then what you can do is start saying positive things, okay? Like you can say things that are positive, like I am a success, or I am going to overcome this, or I know what I'm doing and I'm going to get out of this, or I know that things are going to get better, or I know that I'm stressed out now, but then it's not as bad as I think, and things are a lot better. It's going to become a lot better. So you can think about things that you can say to yourself in your mind to combat. Basically, you're fighting your own self. You're fighting your mind, your negative self-talk, so that you can reverse that and stop that internal roller coaster that can lead you down a really bad path. And the second thing is being present, and it ties into your internal dialogue. So what happens when we are feeling stressed or anxious is anxiety is probably of something based on what? The present, the past, or the future. Being anxious usually is something based on the future, or something that you don't know is going to happen or not, right? That's why you're anxious. And sometimes when you're stressed, usually what it's based on, present, past, or future. Well, it's probably something you feel in the present, but then those negative self-talk, for example, you ask, why is this happening? Or why am I such, a failure? Those questions, are they based on the past, the present, or the future? They're probably more past-based, right? They're more based on what happened before, and you're trying to figure out what happened before. So what can you do? You can start asking yourself questions or saying things that are more present-based, okay? So instead of asking why the question is usually based on the past, right? Usually is based on the past, not in the exact moment. It's usually based on the past. So if you want to get out of that past-based mentality, you can stop asking the question why. And if you want to get away from the future-based, then you can ask yourself, you can stop being more anxious, right? So what are some questions you can ask that are yourself that can be more present-based? And then notice that I said you ask yourself questions, because in order to direct your mind, questions may be the best way to direct your mind, because causes your mind to find a solution, right? Whenever you ask your mind questions, or you ask your higher power a question, or you ask the universe the question, then what happens is opens it up for an answer. And then your mind is more open to receive an answer. Okay, so what you can do is start asking yourself questions in the present. For example, you say, so this happened. That's a present. What do I do about it now? Okay, so that's a good question you can ask, and it brings you out of the past and then out of the future and back in the present. Okay, you start asking yourself questions like, what can I do about this now? What am I feeling now? Right? You know what the present is. Okay, you can see, oh, I'm feeling stressed and such a thing is happening now. And then you can ask yourself, okay, well, where do I want to go? So you start with the present, looking to the future. Okay, I know I am stressed out now, but what can I do now so that tomorrow or in 5 minutes or in 10 minutes or in next week, I will feel a lot better, or things will start to change better, for the better. So start asking yourself questions that are based on the now, based on the present. And that's a really good skill that you can use in order to bring yourself out of the past, out of the anxious future, and back into the present, and help you to be less stressed out and be less anxious. So a lot of people say, oh, positive affirmations are good, and they're really good. For example, you can tell yourself, I'm such a strong person, or I'm such a success, or I'm very successful. But then I think, in my opinion, that questions are even more powerful than statements, right? You think for yourself. If you tell somebody something and you ask somebody something, which one is going to stick more, right? If you're trying to teach somebody something and then you just told them something, like let's say you want to teach them that 1 + 1 = 2, or you ask them, what is 1 + 1? And they figure it out that it's 2, which way of teaching do you think is more effective for the person you're teaching? Probably when you ask the question, because they figured it out themselves and they developed the wiring in their brain to find that solution. And now when they found a solution, it makes such a bigger impact than if you just told them the answer, right? So the same goes to in your mind. If you tell your mind one thing, it's good, right? It may take you, let's say you can tell yourself something for 100 times and then eventually you can get it. Or you can ask your mind a question and then it'll figure it out by itself. And if you can figure out in your mind the answer to that question, then don't you think that your mind will be able to learn that and be able to be more effective? So that's why I really love questions. Instead of doing all these positive affirmations, which are very popular and people do them all the time, and they're good, wouldn't it be better if you ask yourself a question with a positive intent, right? Then you can figure out something that your mind will figure itself out, and it will wire your mind even in a stronger way than if you just keep repetitively, saying positive things about yourself. Anyway, you can try that out and you can let me know if that works for you. The important part of this is that you want to stay present. You don't want to ask questions that are based in the past or questions that are based on the uncertain future. So you want to be able to ask questions of now. For example, like I said, what can I do now about this problem? Or you can ask how questions, because how questions lead to action. So you can say, how can I get over this problem? How can I feel less stress? So you ask questions that will help you solve the problem. Ask questions that will help you to get over the stress or relieve the stress or get over the anxiety. You can ask questions like, how can I be less anxious? Or how I can be more optimistic? How can I be less angry? How can I feel more at peace? So if you ask those questions to yourself, eventually your mind and your body and even your spirit will find the answer. The third mental aspect that is very important is your environment. Now you can internally have that really positive dialogue. You can do all the physical things even. But if you live in an environment and if you associate and surround yourself in an environment that's very negative and causes you to be stressed out or causes you to be anxious, then that's something that you might want to look at. Okay. Now I know that some situations, some environments you cannot change, but there are things that you can change. For example, what kind of music are you listening to? What kind of TV shows are you watching to? What kind of people are you associating with? What kind of people are you talking to and listening to, right? Do they cause stress? Do they cause anxiety? For example, what kind of TV shows and movies do you watch? Do you watch movies that have a lot of negative content? For example, a lot of violence, or a lot of negative drama and fighting, or fighting verbally or fighting physically. You're watching a lot of movies that have a lot of sad stories in them and a lot of depressing stories, right? If you keep watching those things, then you're basically programming your mind to feel those feelings. And if you feel those feelings, it's all going to come out in your physical body too. So possibly, do you think that if you were able to watch some funny movies, for example, some comedy that make you laugh, and guess what? Laughing produces endorphins and help you relieve stress. That's one simple way of relieving stress and anxiety. And then people say that laughter is the best medicine. So don't you think that if you can watch more funny movies, or at least stop watching things on TV that causes drama in your life, or causes stress, causes aggravation, right? Maybe you can cut those things down. Well, sometimes it's okay to watch those things, but if you're already depressed, if you're already anxious, you already have all this tension in your body, don't you think it may not be the best idea to surround yourself with an environment that causes even more stress? Okay, so that's something you need to think about. Think about, what is your environment? What are you doing on a day-to-day basis? Are you listening to music that's very stressful or very aggressive? Are you listening to people that are aggressive or abrasive or very negative minded? So you have to be aware of what your environment is, and if you can change it, then change it, right? But first you need to be aware, okay? Because sometimes you just don't know, not aware, and you're wondering how come you're so stressed out and how come you're so anxious. But maybe it's because of external factors, of people, of things that you're watching or listening to, or people you hang around with, or places that you go to that just don't have a good vibe, that causes stress and causes anxiety in yourself. Okay, so what can you do? Maybe find some people that have a more positive attitude, some people that have more positive energy in their life, right? You can listen to music that makes you feel more relaxed, makes you feel more happy, right? You can watch movies or watch shows that make you laugh, make you feel more happy, make you have more energy than to sink your energy down. Okay, so those are some things you can do to change the external influences on your mental aspects. So you're probably saying, wow, that's so many things I need to do in order to have less stress and less anxiety. Well, yes, it's true. There's a lot of things to do. But the reason there is a lot of things is because it is a lifestyle. It is not just a single fixed solution. It's not a magic pill. Okay, you can't just say, okay, I'm going to take this pill and then I'm going to be less stressed or less anxious. And people sell pills like that, but obviously they don't really work that well. Okay, so what is this lifestyle that you need to adopt? Well, just do all those things. It's all about being able to connect your mind and your body. How do you have a healthy body? I just explained 3 ways of how you can help a healthy mind. Imagine if you can do all those things every day and make it a habit. Don't you think your life will be a lot more happy? Don't you think that your life will have a lot less stress? Well, things are going to probably still happen to you that will be stressful, but then you'll be able to deal with that stress a lot better, won't you? You'll be able to have the skills and the tools that you need in order to be able to deal with that stress. And then now, whenever stressful situations come to you, then you don't feel as stressed out anymore. And whenever anxious situations happen to you, then you won't be feeling so anxious anymore. So you learn to adopt these skills. And these skills, if you practice over time in your life, will give you a healthy lifestyle. So here's a review of what we talked about today. For the mental side, the first mental aspect is to change your negative self-talk into positive self-talk, and then also change your perspective from past and future into the present. And thirdly is to change your environment. So I hope that you enjoyed this lesson. If you like this lesson, make sure you comment in the comment section and tell me what you think. If you have questions, comment in the comment section and then ask me what things you want me to talk about in the next lesson. And make sure you subscribe to this channel if you're not already a subscriber. Click the bell in the subscription button so that you'll get all the instant email notifications whenever there's a new lesson coming out on this channel. And I love to hear what kind of results you are getting by practicing the things in this video. You can probably just pick one thing and just practice that for a day or two, maybe even a week, and tell me how that has affected your life. Did it work for you or did it not work for you? I love to hear the results of these tips on this video. So I'll see you soon in the next lesson. And yes, we're giving away these free DVDs, Ancient Qigong Secrets for Mind and Body. All you need to do to enter the contest is to subscribe to this channel, click the notification bell to get notifications of all the new lessons, and comment in the comment section and like this video, and you'll be entered into the draw. Every week we're giving away a free DVD, so good luck.